This is not breaking news. This is not a scandal. This is not about one person. This is about something far quieter, far more dangerous. A systemic failure so subtle, so insidious, it's nearly invisible until it's already too late. And it's happening right now. A transfer of 300 tons, a staggering $20 billion worth of gold from Venezuela to China in a move so calculated, so strategically executed, the world barely noticed until it was too late. You're being told to watch the stock markets. You're being told to watch the latest political drama. But this is bigger. This is a warning. And once you understand what's happening here, you won't be able to unsee it because the game is changing right under your feet. Stay with me, because what happens next could reshape the global balance of power in ways we are only beginning to understand. So, who controls the system now? Who really holds the power in this shifting world? It's not the headlines. It's not the personalities you see in the news every day. It's something deeper, something quieter, a system built on trust, but one that's losing its foundation. You see, for years, the US dollar held sway, a global standard, the linchpin of the world economy. The West controlled the financial system. But here's the truth. The game has changed. And now it's China that's playing a long game. China doesn't need to be the loudest. It doesn't need to make waves. It moves in silence. Calculated, strategic. Just like this gold transfer. In the shadows, Beijing has been quietly amassing not just gold, but a new kind of power. A power that doesn't rely on institutions, doesn't rely on transparency. It just is. This isn't about an individual. This isn't about Venezuela's collapse. This is about the emergence of a new order. And if you're not paying attention, it might already be too late. What's more dangerous than an obvious crisis? A quiet shift, a slow, incremental change that goes unnoticed until it's too late. Remember when things felt stable, when the financial system was predictable, reliable, when the US dollar was synonymous with stability? That world is slipping away, piece by piece, slowly, stealthily. And this gold transfer, it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't a single sudden decision. No. This was years in the making. The foundations were set long ago as China slowly and deliberately built a new financial framework, one that didn't rely on the West, one that didn't require trust in the old system. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't immediate, but it's the slow changes that are always the most dangerous. And the rest of the world is only now starting to realize what has been happening in plain sight. The shift is already here, and the future is already being written. The moment of truth. A single stunning event, the transfer of 300 tons of gold, sent shockwaves across global markets. But here's the thing. This isn't the story. It's a symptom, a piece of a much bigger puzzle. And the pieces are coming together faster than anyone expected. The immediate reaction was predictable. Gold prices spiked. Stocks jumped. But behind the numbers, something darker was taking shape. The US Treasury held an emergency meeting. They weren't concerned about the price of gold. They were concerned about what happens next. What does China plan to do with this gold? And here's the real question. What does this mean for you? Because while the markets react in the short term, the long-term implications are unfolding quietly, dangerously behind the scenes. And it's not just Venezuela that's at risk. The real danger is much bigger. What if I told you the system that's been running for decades, the one you thought was stable, it's not as solid as you think? Here's how it really works. Wealth doesn't flow the way we've been told. It doesn't always show up in the places we expect. This gold transfer wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't even a desperate move. It was strategic, and it's only part of the bigger play. China didn't just buy gold. No, this was an acquisition, a grab for control. By transferring Venezuela's gold to Beijing, China just strengthened its hold on a crucial asset, and in the process, it weakened the West's grip on the global financial system. So who benefits? It's clear. China, with its ever-growing gold reserves, moves closer to its goal of challenging the US dollar's dominance. Venezuela, desperate for support, hands over its last remaining asset in exchange for temporary financial relief. And who absorbs the damage? The West. The global balance of power shifts slowly but inevitably as Beijing builds a new economic order, and the US, well, it's struggling to keep up. This isn't about one deal. This is about the collapse of an entire system. It doesn't stop with a single gold transfer. The pace is picking up now. The pieces are falling into place. In just a few days, China did more than secure a strategic asset. It set a precedent. Venezuela isn't the only one sitting on valuable resources. Iran, Russia, North Korea, they're all watching. And now, the bar has been set. Imagine this. A sanctioned nation, desperate for financial support, moves its wealth not through Western institutions, but through China's back door. No oversight, no regulations, just straight to Beijing's vaults. And what's stopping others from doing the same? Nothing. This isn't a one-off, this is a roadmap. A new financial system where the West no longer has the final say. The consequences aren't just economic, they're geopolitical. China's influence grows. The US is left scrambling to keep the pieces together, and that's just the beginning. You might be wondering, how does this impact me? Well, let me tell you, it's already happening. You just might not feel it yet. Every time you check your retirement account, every time you see gas prices rising, every time the stock market fluctuates, you're seeing the cracks in the foundation. This isn't just about some abstract global event. This is about the world changing around you, and not for the better. Because when global power shifts, when the rules we've relied on for decades begin to break down, it's not just the governments that feel it. It's you. It's your savings, your investments, your future. The gold, the wealth, the power, it's all moving away from the West, slowly but steadily. And when it lands in China's hands, the game changes. For better or for worse, this is the new world we're entering. And the question is, are you ready for it? This isn't just a Venezuelan story anymore. It's not even just a Chinese story. It's a global one, and it's spreading fast. Think beyond the borders of Venezuela. Picture what's happening in the Caribbean, in Africa, in Southeast Asia. Countries are watching closely. They're seeing that Beijing is offering what Washington no longer can, financial lifelines without the strings attached. No demands for democratic reforms. No pressure for human rights changes. Just money. Just resources. Just power. And now, the US is faced with something it hasn't seen in decades. A challenge that can't be countered with military force. This isn't a war. This is a financial war, a trade war, a war of influence, and China is winning. The US can't push back without hurting its own allies. Europe, Asia, Latin America, they all have ties to China that are too deep to ignore. And so, one by one, countries are reconsidering their options. The ripple effects are growing, and the world is watching closely to see where the next move lands. So, what comes next? The future is already in motion, and there are three possible paths. First, the asterisk, adjustment, asterisk, nations recalibrate. They adapt. They try to adjust to this new system without completely abandoning the old one. It's not a full collapse, but a shift, a gradual erosion of the old power structures as they integrate into the new reality. It's messy, but manageable. Second, asterisk, erosion, asterisk. The foundations begin to crack, slowly at first, then faster. The US dollar weakens further. Global trust in Western financial institutions wanes. Countries begin diversifying their reserves, looking to China's gold-backed yuan. This isn't just a shift, it's a systematic erosion of the old order. And once it starts, there's no turning back. Finally, asterisk, rupture, asterisk. The most extreme outcome, the system breaks completely. The dollar is dethroned, global financial markets crash, and a new geopolitical reality emerges. This is the worst case scenario, a total reset. And it's not something anyone can predict with certainty. So which path will we take? We don't know yet. But one thing is clear. The direction is set. And it's accelerating faster than anyone expected. The future is already in motion. And you're watching it unfold. This isn't just a gold transfer. This isn't just about Venezuela or China. This is the beginning of something much bigger. Something that could fundamentally reshape the way the world works. And the question you have to ask yourself is, are you ready? Because this system, this financial order you've relied on for decades, is no longer certain. The rules are changing. The old assumptions are being tested. And every day, the game gets more unpredictable. You've seen how one transaction, just 300 tons of gold, can shift the balance of power. But what happens next? What will you do as these shifts continue to unfold? This isn't about fear. It's about awareness. It's about understanding what's happening behind the headlines, what's happening under the surface. If this analysis opened your eyes, then don't stop here. Subscribe. Stay informed. Because the next move is already being calculated. And you'll want to know what comes next. The reset has begun. Will you be prepared when it accelerates?